As we go, remember a right click generally positions the switch up, while a left click positions the switch down. First, position the main power switch to battery with a click of the right mouse button. This connects the aircraft's battery to essential systems and provides power needed for engine ignition. As we go, remember just below the switch on the same panel, verify the amber flickus relay light is illuminated. This is a check that the flight control computer's fault monitoring system is operating. Press spacebar to continue. Now, position the flickus power test switch to the test position and hold it in place with the right mouse button. The 4 flickus power lights next to the switch should illuminate. Returning to the electrical panel, the flickus relay lights we're just looking at should turn off, and the TO flickus and flickus PMG lights should be on. This test verifies operation of the flight control computer with aircraft battery as the power source. Release the switch and press spacebar to continue. Next, position the main power switch to main power. This prepares the aircraft to run off the engine-mounted generator, but electrical power is not available until the engine is up and running. For that reason, the engine and hydraulic oil pressure warning lights on the right eyebrow and electrical system and secondary caution lights on the caution panel should be illuminated. Press spacebar to continue. On the EPU panel that is just outboard of the main power switch, you'll want to verify the EPU generator and EPU PMG lights are off. Illumination of either indicates criteria for EPU activation are met. The EPU could activate and create hazardous conditions if the EPU safety pin is removed by the ground crew. Turn the main power switch to off and abort the aircraft if the lights are on, although this is highly unlikely as you have gone terribly astray in the procedure already. Press spacebar to continue. Now, let's close the canopy in preparation for engine start. This can be delayed until taxi if you wish, but we'll close it now to cut down on noise. Use keyboard command left Control C to close the canopy. When it's fully closed, click the yellow canopy handle to lock it in place. Verify the canopy warning light on the right eyebrow goes out. Press spacebar to continue. Now it's time to get the engine up and running. This can go quickly, so feel free to restart the mission at any point if there's something you want to watch more closely. First, position the JFS switch to start 2 with a left click. That just expended both jet fuel starter JFS accumulator bottles and began to spool up the JFS. This also closed the flickus relays and applied power to the flickus. The JFS run light should come on when it's up to speed, and engine RPM should start to increase. Now, let's monitor the engine instruments. At 20% RPM, advance the throttle to idle position, right shift, and home. This provides power to the engine igniters and starts fuel flow. You should note airframe vibration and an increase in the fan turbine engine inlet temperature as RPM increases. Monitor those on the right side of the instrument panel as the engine start cycle continues. The secondary caution light goes out at 20% RPM, and the JFS automatically shuts off at 55%. The JFS light should go out, and the JFS switch should return to the off position automatically. At 60% RPM, the standby generator comes online, and the engine warning light goes out. A few seconds later, the main generator comes online, and the standby generator goes offline. All aircraft systems are now running off electricity from the generator and are ready to be powered up. Normal indications after engine start are hydraulic and oil warning lights off, fuel flow between 700 and 1700 pounds per hour, oil pressure 15 psi minimum, nozzle position greater than 94%, RPM 62 to 80%, F-tip 650C or less, and hydraulic pressure for A and B between 2850 and 3250 psi. Verify those on the instrument panel and press spacebar to continue. Now that power is provided by the generator, we have 3 quick tests to run on the master test panel. Position the probe heat switch to probe heat. Verify the probe heat caution light on the caution light panel is off. Illumination means one or more probe heaters are inoperative or failure of the monitoring system has occurred. Now, position the probe heat switch to test. The probe heat caution light should flash 3 to 5 times per second. The probe heat monitoring systems are inoperative if this does not occur. Return the probe heat switch to the off position. Press spacebar to continue. Next, depress the fire and overheat detect button. Verify that the engine fire warning light and the overheat caution light are illuminated when the button is pushed. This checks for continuity of the fire and overheat detection loops. Press spacebar to continue. Then, depress the malfunction indicator lights button. All cockpit warning, caution, and indicator lights should illuminate when the button is depressed. Voice message system audio alerts should play in priority sequence. A brief landing gear warning horn should be heard prior to the warning and caution words. Press spacebar to continue. Now it's time to get our systems up and running and start the INS alignment. This is far easier than it sounds. First, turn on all the switches on the avionics power panel. Each switch in sequence provides power to the modular mission computer, or MMC, power to the store stations, or ST-STA, power to the 2 MFDs, power to the upfront controls, or UFC, power to the GPS receiver, and power to the data link, or DL. There's also a map power switch, but this is not used in the Block 50 Viper. Press spacebar to continue. Next, position the EGI INS knob to align. This begins alignment of the EGI INS ring laser gyro navigation system. A normal alignment takes approximately 4 minutes to accomplish if the aircraft remains stationary. The knob should be set to nav prior to taxi. Press spacebar to continue. While the INS is busy aligning, we'll complete the rest of the cockpit setup and checks. First, set the CNI knob to the UFC position. This enables control of the primary communications, navigation, and identification functions from the upfront controls. Check that all 3 wheels down lights are illuminated green. This confirms that the landing gear is down and locked, and the micro switches that sense their position are working properly. While you're there, cycle the speed brakes open, left shift B, and back closed, left control B, using the switch on the throttle. Confirm this visually and monitor the speed brake indicator. Press spacebar to continue. Next, uncage the standby ADI on the instrument panel. This can be done by rotating the knob until the aircraft symbol is aligned with the horizon. Press spacebar to continue. On the sensor power panel, turn on these 3 switches. Right hardpoint switch, on if the targeting pod is installed, FCR switch to FCR, radar altimeter switch to radar altimeter. Radar and radar altimeter transmissions are inhibited until the aircraft becomes airborne, but activation of these systems may be delayed until just before takeoff. Press spacebar to continue. Now we're down to a series of checks that may be run to verify proper operation of the aircraft systems. We will start with the check of the engine operation in the secondary engine control mode. This mode is selected in the case of a failure of the engine-mounted digital computer that controls scheduling of the engine fuel flow. First, raise the switch guard and position the engine control switch to SEC. Verify the SEC caution light is on and engine RPM is stabilized. RPM may drop up to 10% from the pry value before stabilizing. Stabilized sec idle RPM may be up to 5% lower than in pry. Press spacebar to continue. Now hold down the wheel brake to the next part so your aircraft does not move. Snap the throttle to mill and then back to idle when engine RPM reaches 85%. Check for normal indications in smooth operation. The nozzle position should be 5% or less within 30 seconds after selecting sec. Press spacebar to continue. Now, set the engine control switch back to pry and lower the switch guard. Check the sec light goes out and nozzle position returns to greater than 94%. Press spacebar to continue. Next, we'll run a check of the flickus. Start by cycling all your flight controls. Maximum stick inputs warm hydraulic fluid and remove air bubbles, making test failures less likely. Then, position the flickus bit switch to bit. The run light on the flight control panel illuminates. After a successful completion of the bit, approximately 45 seconds later, the run light goes off, the bit switch returns to off, and the fail light and the flickus warning light remains off. A bit pass message appears on the flickus MFD page. Other tasks may be completed while the flickus bit runs. Press spacebar to continue. Now we'll test the fuel quantity indicating system. We will do this by checking the state of the fuel quantity indicator with the fuel quantity knob in the different positions. Start by positioning the fuel quantity knob to test. On the fuel quantity indicator, the FRAL pointer should indicate 2,000 plus or minus 100 pounds, and totalizer should indicate 6,000 plus or minus 100 pounds. The forward and aft low fuel caution lights should illuminate. The quantity readouts in the other positions should match the aircraft's actual fuel load. After the check is complete, set the fuel quantity knob back to the norm. Press spacebar to continue. Next, let's check the operation of the digital backup software. It is used if problems arise with the primary flickus software. First, position the digital backup switch to backup. Verify that DBU on warning light illuminates and operate your controls. All surfaces should respond normally. Next, return the digital backup switch to off. Verify the DBU on warning light goes off. Press spacebar to continue. Now we'll verify that the trim system is functioning correctly. Set trim autopilot disconnect switch to disconnect. Use the trim head on your stick to trim at both pitch and roll. There should be no control surface motion and no movement on the trim wheels or indicators. Press spacebar to continue. Return the trim AP disconnect switch to the norm position. Again, use your trim head on the stick to trim at both pitch and roll. The control surface and trim indicators should move. Center the trim for pitch and roll and use the yaw trim knob to check the center trim for yaw. Press spacebar to continue. Next is to check if the manual pitch override system is working correctly. Start by pushing the stick full forward and holding that position. The horizontal tail should deflect down. Then, position the MPO switch to override and hold. Confirm that horizontal tail trailing edges move further down. Release the stick and MPO switch and confirm that the horizontal tail returns to its original position. Press spacebar to continue. The last check is the emergency power unit. This check verifies EPU electrical power is available in case of an emergency. It may be delayed until just before takeoff if desired. First, check EPU fuel quantity reads 95 to 102%. Next, set oxygen to 100%. Then, holding down the brake, increase engine RPM to 10% above normal idle. Press spacebar to continue. Set the EPU generator test switch to EPU generator and hold it in position. Check the following lights: EPU air light on, EPU generator and EPU PMG lights off, Flickus power lights on, EPU run light on for a minimum of 5 seconds. Press spacebar to continue. Return the EPU generator test switch to the off position. Return the throttle to idle and set oxygen back to normal. Press spacebar to continue. That's it. You're ready to taxi as soon as your INS alignment is complete, and you position the EGI INS knob to nav. Use the time on the ground to set up your avionics systems for the assigned mission. Things to consider include SMS page and profiles, radio channels and frequencies, navigation data, bingo fuel settings, ALO settings, and any other systems applicable to the mission. We will pick up again at this point in the lesson that covers taxi and takeoff. You may use the escape key to exit the mission now or continue to explore the aircraft on your own.
Colt 1-1, request takeoff.
Altitude. 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 Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Altitude. Altitude. Pull up. Altitude. Altitude. Pull up. Pull up. Altitude. 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 Pull up. Altitude. Altitude.
Okay, 3 more. Siapa lagi Belum? Christabel, and one more. Siapa belum masuk?
In this lesson, we'll start on the initial approach for an overhead brake landing pattern. This technique is the safest and most efficient way to recover a lot of aircraft quickly, but this is an advanced technique that requires familiarity with aircraft handling on approach. Before flying this lesson, make sure you're familiar with the procedures described in the VFR or landing lesson. I currently have the lesson paused. Press spacebar when you're ready to get started. First, let's quickly run through the entire process. I have placed a series of gates that show the flight path used for this technique. As you can see, we're on the initial approach to the landing runway,
Okay, can you all
1,500
log
feet
in
above
to
the
your
ground
SLS
and about 300
account
knots.
now?
We'll brake left over the touchdown point, extend the speed brakes, and perform a level turn until we're flying in the opposite direction. We'll ensure our airspeed is below 300 knots, extend the landing gear, and trim to an AOA of about 11 degrees. We'll continue flying level until reaching a point where the end of the runway is about 45 degrees behind us. We'll bank left, lower the nose, and maintain 11 degrees AOA as we align ourselves with the runway. We'll roll out and fly the rest of the approach exactly as we did in the last lesson. Press spacebar to continue. Now, that's a lot to digest, so don't expect this to go perfectly the first time,
Okay,
or even the 10th.
click
Each approach is
on
unique with its own challenges due to crosswind,
Term
aircraft
2
weight,
which tick
runway length,
MSP
and a host of
assessment
other
part
factors.
kefahaman mendengar.
Use the gates
Okay,
ahead as a guide,
you have
but
to do
feel
a
free to
bit
deviate if necessary.
manually.
Focus on rolling
Yeah.
out, align with the runway, on speed and on glide slope every time. How you get there is not as important. Now press spacebar when you're ready to give it a shot. I'll talk you through it as we go. Okay,
So-
maintain alignment with the landing runway at 1,500 feet above ground level and 300
Please,
knots
hi.
calibrated airspeed as shown on the HUD.
Okay, I just want to know whether you can access
We're over the
the
touchdown point,
Google
so brake
link
left.
or not.
Set throttle
Can
to
you
about
try and
80%
check?
RPM and open the speed brakes.
Check your
Fly the
speed
brake at
check
about
rows.
70 degrees of bank and 3 to 4 G.
Your speed
Relax the
sprint
G
rows.
as speed
Altitude.
bleeds off and keep the flight
Altitude.
path marker on the horizon line to
Yeah.
maintain a level turn.
Oh, okay already? Try to refresh.
Now roll out opposite the landing heading at about 200 to 220 knots. Extend the landing gear and confirm 3 green gear down indications. Start to reduce speed and trim to an angle of attack of 11 degrees with 2 or 3 clicks of nose up trim. Okay, peek back to the left to check your position. Start the turn when to beam the rollout point. That's about when your wingtip is at the end of the runway when viewed from the cockpit. Lower the
You can
nose
see
to
my
8 to
screen or
10
not?
degrees and fly the turn at 11 degrees AOA.
Can see my screen?
Yeah, I can see.
Okay. So, okay, we try to do this manually lah. Sorry about this. Okay, so you can
Now
listen
roll
to
out
the
on final
instruction
and raise
part
the nose to maintain
di
the
sini,
proper 2.5
arahan
degree
di
glide
sini.
path. The goal
Okay,
is to
but the
roll out in line with the
question,
runway
you have
approximately
to
300 feet
go
AGL,
to
1 mile
the
from the
link
touchdown
here.
point.
Can you all click the link? Okay, because the question paper is there,
Okay,
but
shift the flight path marker forward to the
question
touchdown
paper
point.
and also
Gently pull
the
back on the stick to
video
flare and
clip
reduce the
is
descent
there.
rate, but don't level up.
Okay.
Pull the throttle back to idle and touch down with a max
So
AOA
for
of
the
13
question
degrees.
paper, I think
Don't
you need to
exceed 15
download
degrees
first.
and base stroke the
Altitude.
Then
tail.
you can see the picture.
Maintain 13 degrees nose up or
better
aero
lah.
braking
Because I think
until
in
your
Google
airspeed
Sheet
is below
the picture
100
is like
knots.
haywire.
Reduce back pressure and lower the nose wheel to the runway. Open the speed brakes
Can you
fully and
access
maintain
this link?
full aft stick for maximum
Boleh tak?
braking effectiveness.
Anyone have problem accessing the link? Cannot lah.
Yeah,
Can
nice
or
job.
cannot?
Engage nose wheel steering when below 30 knots and take the next taxiway to the left. That
Altitude.
can be tough to get right, so
Ryan, can
feel
you
free
log
to
in to
restart the
SLS?
mission and try it again. Remember, the gates are just a guide, and the path will vary
Yeah.
depending on conditions and your own technique. You can end the
Okay,
lesson now
try
by
to
pressing
access the
escape
link.
or taxi to parking on your own.
Yeah. The rest, do you all have photos or not? Some of you. Wait, no photo ah? Okay. But can you access the audio? Alamak. Sideways ah. Some photo sideways. Alamak. That's why I say the photo gets haywire if you log in from there. Okay, never mind. I tell you what. Okay, I will share my screen. Okay, and then you play from your computer the petikan ah. Boleh or not?
Kertas soalan.
The Katika allows me to play it.
What is it?
Cannot play, I don't think can play. I tried pressing it's
Cannot
nothing.
play ah?
Yeah.
Wait ah.
Cikgu, I went to
Oh,
see
can
the
already,
question
can already.
paper. But the pictures are like muffled, like it's on top of one another.
Okay, okay. So never mind. Okay, so never mind. We close this part first lah. The listening compre. Okay, so when can you do the listening compre? I will try to rectify the problem and see how to better dispatch this listening compre because some of the files are too big. Especially the audio, so a bit difficult. When can you all, if let's say next Tuesday, is it possible for you all to do the listening compre just for the listening compre portion?
Yeah.
Anyone have anything on Tuesday next week? That's the first day of holiday, by the way.
What time will we doing?
You prefer AM or PM? We do
PM.
PM lah. Okay lah, PM not too late lah. Maybe around 2:30. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah.
Anyone have problem?
I check first. Later I scared I got anything. I need to check
Okay.
first.
Check first quickly. So we can have like 1 day set aside for just for this listening compre part. Just about maybe around 20 minutes. The audio also you all cannot play from there, is it?
Altitude, altitude, altitude.
Can you play the audio? Cannot lah. Can or cannot? Huh? Can play or not?
Can play, can play.
Altitude,
Can ah?
altitude.
Okay, never mind. Okay, I will.
Cita-cita Daniel untuk menjadi seorang polis akhirnya tercapai. Dia ingin berbangga.
Why? Okay, stop. Okay, never mind. I will unassign first this portion for the assessment.
Wait,
Okay.
Chico.
Ah,
If I don't have problems, can I just do this week?
what is it?
I don't have any problem. Can I just do now?
Who? Cekai ah?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, but then you need to do the question in the SLS ah. Okay, for those of you who don't have problem, okay, you let me know. If you don't have problem, you can do it now. Your picture all okay, you can do it now. So you just do it now. Boleh? Because like Kai not having problem, so he can do it now.
Chico, you talking about the listening?
Yes, I'm talking about the listening.
Not mine, the pictures on messed up.
Okay. So for those of you whose picture is messed up, so I think I don't know. I will try to rectify it. Maybe I try to embed everything in the SLS if possible. Okay. So next week then we can do Tuesday. So if you don't have any problem, next Tuesday, 2:30 2:30 p.m. boleh? All of you? Okay, only those who have problem, okay, then you can do next week Tuesday. Okay, for those of you,
Cikgu,
yeah.
call is her whole screen like blacked out, so like she's calling me now. Yeah.
Okay. Boleh. Okay. Then for the rest of you, you can. Okay, wait. Okay, so for the rest of you, you can do the package first, lesson package first. The rest of the lesson package. Okay. So please do this part. Okay, remember attendance is still taken. Okay, for this one. And for the previous one that you have not done, please do. So now we are already at unit 5 dan 6. Okay, almost finishing the whole book. So please make sure that you have the content needed. Yeah, because if you don't have the content, then how are you going to answer, okay, in your oral, okay, in your harangan. So please study the vocabulary. So follow the kegiatan, all the activity.
Altitude.
Okay. So okay, can you tell me who have no problem with the listening comprehension? So I need to take note. Only Shekai, is it? The rest?
Arahan bunyi
Yes,
pasti jawapan yang paling
Isabel and Isabel, ada masalah? Any problem or not? Alamak. See, Shekai also.
Cikgu, when I open the question paper, all the pictures are overlapped with one another. So I cannot see clearly.
Yeah, okay. So I think, okay, never mind. I will try to embed the picture. So I think never mind. All can do next week lah, Tuesday. Boleh?
Okay.
2:30? Okay. So now, I think for now, the rest of you still got time. You have actually until 6:45 for MSP lesson. So, please do your SLS. Boleh tak? Okay, please do your SLS work. Those that you have not completed, tolong buat, okay, because I think the prelim, you already received the prelim notification, right? So it will be in July. So if you don't prepare yourself, then how are you going to do your prelim? And after that, your O-level. O-level is in August, oral. So kosakata sangat penting, ya. Pelajari kosakata setiap unit. Okay. If you have the buku, the grey booklet, right? The grey booklet, actually inside there got some oral practice. Yeah, so you can actually lihat di dalam buku the grey booklet. I think some of your books, the grey booklet is still with me. So I will see how you can collect lah, or how can I pass to you during this holiday. Maybe I post or what to you, your book. I see how I think got some few books, the grey booklet with me. Okay. Okay, any other question? Please make sure to do your SLS package. Some of you still haven't done like 2-3 weeks. So how are you going to complete that part? Okay. So for unit 6, okay, now we are moving on to the new topic already. Okay, we have completed unit 4 with the descriptive essay. Those of you who have not completed the descriptive essay, please email me. I will mark and return to you. Okay, some of you have already submitted previous work. I have already returned to you the mark one. So I will mark and return to you. So please hantar ya, tolong hantar your kerja. Okay, don't backlog too much. Okay. Baik, so for this SLS activity, okay, I'll just go through quickly. Then after that, you all do yourself. Okay, this one is actually berikan pendapat. Okay, lihat gambar dan berikan pendapat. Okay, so siapakah seorang tokoh perintis Singapura yang kamu kagumi atau sanjungi? So if you mouse over, you can see the translation. Okay, like kagumi, admire. Tokoh perintis, remember tokoh you have learned in Sec 3. Okay. Okay, tokoh is a public figure. Okay, perintis is pioneer. Okay, so seorang tokoh perintis Singapura meaning one Singapore pioneer which you admire. Okay, so beri maklumat nama dan pekerjaannya atau maklumat lain yang penting. Okay, so A is the name. Okay, who is this pioneer that you admire? Then the occupation and maybe other important information. Okay, so your answer, please write something like this. Saya mengagumi atau menyanjungi siapa? Okay, then B is this part beliau. Beliau ialah seorang peguam. For example, if he is a lawyer or whatever lah. Okay, so write it down. This is a free response. Okay, then second part, why do you choose this? Mengapa kamu memilih this pioneer? Okay, why do you choose him or her? Okay, so I choose him or her because what? Yeah, so this is the first activity, actually quite simple. Then second one, kegiatan kedua. Okay, if you have the textbook with you, you can look at your textbook, but I also scan the picture. Okay, for those of you who don't have the text, yeah. Okay, so ini page 98 and 99. Okay, so we go by this way. This is dialogue 1.
Would you like a milkshake?
Okay.
No. He doesn't deserve a milkshake.
This is dialogue 2. Okay.
You behave yourself, you get something.
Dialogue 3 and dialogue 4.
He's just a kid.
Okay. So this is for page 98 and 99. Yeah. So dialogue 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, you can also look at the slide here. So this is the how it is like Okay, dialogue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so you can go through the slide. Okay, there's some like Suin suggested to put in some English words there. Okay, like the word mengembangkan, expand. Okay, mencadangkan here is suggest. Okay, menjual rempah ratus. Okay, this one we don't put rempah ratus is this picture, spices. Dan menjual kain. Kain ni cloth.
If he doesn't behave
Yeah.
himself, that's what he gets.
Okay, so you go through the slides and some guidelines. Okay, ni panduan. Some words that you can use. For example, berniaga. Berniaga means do business. So it is a verb, kata kerja. Okay. Then perniagaan is business, kata nama, which is noun. Dan peniaga is businessman. Okay. Also kata nama. Okay, so there's a difference with the prefix and suffix that they put in. There's a difference in meaning. Okay. Then mengembangkan is expand. Bersetuju. Okay, I think setuju here you have.
Is it hiding the gut?
Okay, actually bersetuju here is not
Today
kata
we're
nama.
looking at air-to-air refueling with
kata
mission
kerja.
briefing for
Yeah.
frequencies. We will
Okay,
be
sorry for
covering
this
TACAN,
error.
communication,
Okay, because the
setup,
word
and
ber
joining up the
here
tanker to
indicates
give fuel.
a kata kerja.
We'll
Ya,
get
nombor
started by
5
flying
is
to our
kata
tanker.
kerja ya.
We'll set up our
Okay, then
TACAN to
6 persetujuan
You'll find the
is
frequencies in the mission
agreement.
briefing on each
Okay, then
mission
this
if
is
a
kata nama.
tanker is provided.
Okay,
Let's
the root
tune our
word here
TACAN by
is
pressing the number
setuju.
1 TACAN/ILS
So you
key
notice
on our IC.
the per an
This opens
here,
the page
per
on
an.
ID.
Okay,
You can then see our TACAN channel and band
it indicates
below,
a
with our ILS
noun
to the right.
word. Okay.
We'll now use the DCS switch
Normally,
to select the entry field shown between the two
it is
asterisks.
what you
Enter
call
our
that?
desired frequency and press enter. If you make a
Abstract
mistake,
noun.
press
Yeah,
the recall
abstract
button
noun.
to delete.
Okay,
To
like
swap between X
perniagaan,
or Y bands,
persetujuan.
press
So
zero
this is
mode
abstract
select.
noun.
We can also cycle our mode between
Okay.
transmit, receive,
So this is
and
panduan
air-to-air
1.
by
Then
pressing
this is based
sequence.
on the dialogue 2
We'll leave
ya.
this in
The
air-to-air
dialogue 2.
transmit,
So you
receive
look at the
for our
dialogue
tanker.
here lah in the book.
Finally,
Okay, so
press
this is
return
dialogue
to close the
1,
menu.
dialogue 2.
If the TACAN
Okay,
Morse code
dialogue
signal
3
is
dan
annoying you,
4. It goes that
turn
way ya.
down the TACAN volume.
Okay, any
found on
questions so
our
far?
left. We'll now
If
reference our
don't
HSI
have,
below.
I will just
Press the
continue.
M
Ada
button
soalan?
to cycle to TACAN mode. In the top left, we'll see the range to our TACAN station, with the blue arrow pointing directly towards it. Simply follow the arrow of our aircraft, placing it at the top of our display, to fly towards the TACAN beacon.
Okay.
As we close to
Can
20 nautical
everyone
miles from
give
the
me a
tanker,
thumbs up?
we need
I
to
want
get
to
in
see
contact.
if let's
If
say
you are not using
everyone is
simplified
okay.
radio in the
1, 2, 2,
difficulty,
3, 4. Okay or not? The rest, just give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. Okay, yang lain? Alright.
we need to configure our
Ni
radios.
Megan, Corwin ni semua mana?
Select COM1 from the